All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Monday, November 9th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. As always, make sure you guys could hear me loud and clear. Tripping up between the word guys and folks there. Great to see Michael, John, Donnie, Greg, Ron, Debbie, Kathleen, for all of us inside the trading room, Stefan as well. Perfect. And for all of us on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube, welcome on back. Of course, as you folks know at this point from Fausto's morning briefing, we ended up seeing the markets explode overnight, not just from election, but more so really from vaccine news. Pretty coincidental that it all happened right then and there, right? So, as far as the talk beyond with politics, we're not looking to really, dive much further. But at least in terms of the market, we ended up seeing great action from this morning. We ended up seeing the markets pull back a little bit after the open. We ended up seeing natural profit taking after being up so much overnight. But from there, the markets made a nice steady bounce back. A few stocks ended up running heading into the early afternoon, including this AHT trade here, Ashford Hospitality. So the only news I have here, at least that I see from Benzinga Pro, it's just more an affiliation with different real estate related stocks trading higher amid positive vaccine news. A return to more normal business operations could indicate an increase in consumer spending and economic activity. So, just generally that's what they have. But I'll take a look at a few of the other real estate or mortgage based companies that I know of right now. Obviously, with that said, though, we're going to put the AHT trade just right on our afternoon watch list to begin. All right, so a couple of other real estate stocks, as far as I know, from trading back in late February, early March, when they all ended up tanking. Take a look at MFA, up 6.7% today. Very slow mover, though. Normally, I wouldn't be as interested in this. Just wanted to take a quick peek. MIT, all of these seem to be pretty lifeless for right now. There was another one, was it ARI, if I'm not mistaken? This one's doing pretty good. Apollo Commercial Real Estate Financial Incorporated. So, hey, this one's at the highs right now, trading 2.3 million shares total across the day. I mean, it is shortable, so if it ends up pulling back, we see more profit taking perhaps, then perhaps we'll short. But otherwise, for right now, love the trend. Seems to be moving up pretty nicely, so I don't mind adding this to our watch list in the meantime. Alrighty, so what we'll do really, guys, with so much up right now, and I mean, if not up, just active altogether, up and down. We have earnings after the bell today to focus on too. I'll post that or repost that inside the trading room in just a moment. We'll just go from top to bottom here in just a bit. I see from Evelyn in the trading room just saying that the screen sharing is off. Evelyn, just on your end, make sure that the screen sharing tab is set to, or is set on your end. Let's see if I could pull back. I'm going to jump around here on the social media feed here, at least there for a moment. All right, should have it up in just a second there. Just give me a quick sec. It's going to reset for everybody. All right, let me know if it's good. We're good? Perfect. All right, cool. So what we'll do, like I just said, we'll go from top to bottom. I see AIG warrants. Oh, I don't know what that's about. We'll just take a quick peek. 213% cheapy. It's at the highs, but very spotty chart. I figured we weren't going to put this on our main list. The AHT obviously exploding still, moving up very nicely. As far as resistance on this trade, at least I could, I can't bring bookmap up, but I can tell you at least I have my bookmap on the AHT stock. Right now, there is a 37,000 share order on the ask at 352, not even at 350. So 352, there seems to be a bigger seller currently on the ask. I see that from Bookmap. That's actually not shown on the TradeStation matrix here on the right-hand side. AMC, actually, this was one of my better trades across the whole day. I ended up jumping in this right off 326. We can go over this trade perhaps if we have time in tomorrow's Traders Talk. You would imagine just based from this morning, we have pretty much all the stocks to cover tomorrow in our Q&A workshop. So for any of us on social media, really quickly, I'll just say this now. Feel more than free to join us, take our trial of our trading room, join us for tomorrow's exclusive workshop. I'll go over a few trades in particular from today. More or less, AMC, I ended up jumping in once there was an iceberg order filled on the bid off 326. I let it break under and over. I jumped in right from 326, ran it up towards just over 350. I left a lot on the table, but it was a cheap stock. You're able to jump in on a 2 or 3x position. It ended up tricking me just before, though. So I ended up jumping in long over 4. I was hopeful to see a sharper run up heading into the early afternoon. It ended up making this big shake. I didn't have my stop set, so I ended up averaging down right off 391. Yeah, I could have ended up breaking even, and actually a little plus too if I ended up holding on, or if I ended up getting out here. I ended up dumping out my position right off 393, so I took a 4-cent loss just before. Nonetheless, AMC trading 117 million shares total across the day. It looks really flat, so I'm not as interested right now at this point. But CNK, no, yeah, same thing. This one at least is shortable. So if this ends up, dying off, pulling back, this would at least present more opportunity for us. But both seem just exhausted. Both seem very flat. Would have seen a CNK in just a moment anyway, right? So we have the SNDL up next, number 6. This was the top percent gainer going into the market open. As you can see, it pulled back after 9:30. Pot stock, so the pot sector ended up taking a big hit. I'll just take a quick look at MJ. Pot ETF. It was up big this morning, obviously at the lows right now. So everything seems to be falling, at least within the pot sector. ACB on the way down to 11. I told a buddy last week to jump into Tilray or ACB. It was actually right before it ended up exploding. So, it's a little tough for them to just jump in right then and there. But they didn't tell me that they got in the trade at like 1060, 1065. They should have told me. I would have said, hey, wait for 10. The whole sector's slipping off. So I told them about an hour ago. I said, listen, this thing's going to drop down to 10. You should have told me in advance. I would have given you a level to watch like I do with all of us inside the trading room. This is a personal friend of mine. Well, nonetheless, look at where we are right now. So, the whole sector is dropping off, provides great opportunity should we happen to see a bounce, right? So I don't mind coming back to the pot stocks at the end altogether. Just put these on our side list. Tilray at 10 is a really good setup, I will say in particular, but I don't know how far that's going to net you if the sector keeps slipping off. Maybe it makes like a 15, 20 plus cent move up and then slams back down. So we'll come back to these at the end at least. You know what? Actually, as well, I do see a cheapie. I don't know if I skipped over these or if these ended up popping just now. Maybe this one popped a little earlier. Bohr, BORR. This is a drilling stock, I remember. So I just saw this from the corner of my eye. It's number 3 right now. I skipped over this perhaps, but ended up making a nice run heading into the early afternoon. I'll check out also some of the oil stocks while I'm at it, right? I mean, everything that dropped off back in late February, early March. Oxy, I know in particular, they have earnings out after the close today. So, for what it's worth, we'll be more interested in them tomorrow. APA, Apache, I'm not doing much. WLL. Oh, I forgot they ended up doing a reverse split. That's right. All right. And that was a little while back too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, ended up making this big gap up, and then from there it pulled back. So, all right, I guess it's just Bohr ended up making the nice squeeze, that oil drilling stock. But we'll come back to that perhaps as well at the end. EXPR, I called this out just before. It was a little late on the call out. It was already at $1, but it ended up breaking over $1 up towards 106. So for a few of us that jumped in, perhaps you're able to scalp it for a couple pennies. I was looking more for a pullback. I mean, honestly, right down to here, right off 92 cents. I'd called that out just earlier going into the afternoon meeting. So I'm hopeful that we'll find a bounce, a really strong bounce from this very point, but it looks like it's still like kind of dumping off. So it's a cheapie, but it's already traded so much volume, already ended up making such a big move from earlier today. I just wouldn't expect a second clean move back up higher. If not, today, then perhaps tomorrow or later on this week, maybe we'll see it. I'd be hopeful for that. But again, for right now, I'll see if there's anything looking stronger on the way up as of right now. This HA stock that Fausto called out before, Hawaiian Holdings, ended up pumping up in the morning, dumped back down, and back up it goes. This thing's been through like the spin cycle, like I like to call it, up and down, that is. For right now, it's trading about 9,000 shares per minute in terms of average volume per minute. So that's actually not bad given the liquidity on the book. I'm just a little wary of putting this on our list at this point, given the range already up and down and up. Just going to take a look. We're not going to put this on our list, I'd imagine. APVO, talking about going through the cycle. This thing ended up just pumping up day after day after day after day. And then actually Friday, just for those of us that missed out or didn't look at this stock yet, this thing ended up going up to an after hours high on Friday at 80 bucks. Over 80, 83 just about. You don't know when, you don't know how far. That's the issue on these trades. So we were not promoting APVO as a swing trade. It's just crazy how you could see how far these stocks can float up towards and then dump right back down. So I'd only imagine for this stock to continue to dump off at this point. We've seen stocks like this in the past, the APVO that is. All right, this NCMI I called out earlier, actually, when it was peaking up at the highs here at the time. It was a good call while it lasted, but volume died off. It kind of stinks right now. It's just not really doing much here. Ooh, BKD. What's this? Brookdale Senior Living. All right. I don't know if it's news kind of in relation with the other real estate stocks, but Senior Living Company ended up making a nice push earlier today. Folks, really quick, AHT, I'm going to jump back to. We'll continue with the rundown, but AHT is just pumping up still at this point. I just have from Bookmap. It just blasted right over resistance. It's on the way up towards 4 right now. Popped right over 360 from there, ended up pushing up to where it is here. All right, cool. There we go, Robert. Robert inside our trading room just closed out. He was in from basically 350, got about 22 cents on the trade. Very nice. BKD here, it's slow, right? That's my only gripe on it. It's level 1. So for any of our newly enrolled students or beginner students, this would be the type of stock, but it's almost like too slow. That's my gripe. I will put this on our list. It looks pretty interesting just at the highs, and it also is shortable for those of us on TradeStation. Yeah, we'll see what this does. Not much of a resistance on the S to work with here. 402, 8,200 shares, kind of scattered orders here. Dave and Buster's play going into the morning. I was saying to you folks inside the trading room to look out for this stock as the spreads will tighten up more, at least from where they were in pre-market, which stood true. But after the pop and drop out, I mean, there were better stocks to look at than Dave and Buster's. Still seems to be fairly tradable, but we'll see if there's anything, again, looking just as good, if not better than this, at least. Man, the whole meeting is going to be on the gainer side, by the way. I mean, the only stocks that are on the loser side are going to be the inverse ETFs, I'd imagine. Now, Soho here, I kind of just skipped to because the name stood out to me. We've seen the stock trade in the past once or twice, but it is at the highs right now. Just made a nice pop here. So for the meantime, I'd rather focus on this. All right, got CUK Carnival spinoff stock here. It's slipping off and it's still up 36+%. Jeez. So we'll take a look at CCL. I don't know if I skipped over that. It's up 33%. So I would have gotten to this if I kept scrolling down. CCL is hard to borrow. I don't think you can get shares to short it, but hey, I mean, if you're not on TradeStation, you might. CUK is a Carnival stock as well, a little bit cheaper, but this always has been shortable for us. And then otherwise, you know me, NCLH. It's my baby. I actually ended up shorting NCLH on a half-size position today from 21.45. I ended up closing out over 20.50 here. That was probably my cleanest trade of the day. Didn't net me the most money, but that was a clean one. Ended up dropping off here, though, heading into the early afternoon as well. I might just slip cruise lines altogether on our list. They all seem to be very active. We can't short the pot stocks. I'd say if we were able to short the pot stocks, this meeting would have ended at this point. I'll tell you that much. I mean, we would just be all over Tilray and ACB. We would have been from earlier this morning. It's unfortunate. But the cruise lines, for the most part, we can short. We'll keep these in mind for right now. Sabre ended up making a nice push earlier today, or at least going into the early afternoon, making a higher high, but pulling back right now. It is trading a lot of volume. About 60,000+ shares per minute, but that's also factoring in, actually, numbers a little inflated. You take a look at this big print right here on the tape, a 205,000 share transaction actually just got filled a moment ago. at $9.52. So I'll tell you, I mean, even without that print, this stock was trading a decent amount of volume at this point in the day. Seems to be fairly active. Spreads are tight. I like that. So Sabre, I don't mind slipping on here also, just near the end. Yeah, I would expect a pop and drop on the AHT from 4. All right, I see from one of us, it just popped over 4. We'll come back to that one at the very end. All right, we got Party City here. Actually, I slipped up here. I didn't see Party City. Good timing, too. It's actually at the highest right now. 20,000 share order on the bid. Make sure that doesn't get completely filled. And if we see a lot of selling under that price, that honestly might be the end of the run. I'm hopeful that it's not, but at least for the meantime, if we happen to see a lot of profit taking off the tops, that's where we'll happen to see a bit of a drop back. So for right now, I'm happy I jumped back to Party City here. We'll put this on too. Oh, Party City actually had earnings this morning. I looked right up at my whiteboard. I have my big earnings calendar right up in front of me. I thought for a second there after the bell, they actually were reported earlier this morning. Goes to show how little I followed this stock, at least upon the market opening up. There were so many different stocks from this morning, folks. So it was like your pick of the litter, pretty much. This morning, I was specifically following AMC. I was watching, and actually, we'll look at this stock right now. It's not up as much percent-wise, I guess, but PLTR, right? New IPO, we saw break all-time highs over the last week or so. I ended up following this morning. I ended up making for a great trade. I ended up scalping this essentially from 15. But for right now, yeah, I mean, pretty flat. It looks like it's under 15. We might get a bit of a drop heading into the afternoon on this PLTR. Wouldn't shock me. For right now, though, let's hop over to the losers list, and we'll see if there's anything looking better. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. TRVN is at the high of the day here. ARCT down 44%, shortable too. Man, what happened here? My just extremely quick guess would be like bad phase 2 or 3 trial news of some sort, pharma company or therapeutic company. Pulling back to 35, just the book is too thin. That's my only issue here. And Pat saying lift, wow, in the chat board. So I did call out lift earlier. I'm going to jump right to the lift here for a second. Lift is at the highs, up 26+%. So is this even in the top 50 of the gainers? It wasn't even close to the top 50, Pat. Well, no, I didn't look at this until right now, Pat. He says, yeah, you called it out already. Well, at least before the meeting started. So great call, at least right now. Lyft. Lyft earnings. Oh, tomorrow afternoon. There we go. All right, there we go, Pat. So nice call just to break this up in between. So we'll hop back to the losers list here. ALT trading 4.3 million shares, shortable, $8 stock. Liquidity does check out. I just think that there's not as much to give on this trade, really. I don't know. Nothing really too much to write home about here. If it was closer to the lows, closer to 8, I'd be more interested, I think. VXRT is shortable. Look at this. Wow, I know one of our students, I think it was Norman, had called this out earlier saying it was shortable. So yeah, right off the lows right now, right? This stock's trading 20+ million shares. And honestly, that's not really a whole lot given how much this stock traded back in June, July, August, September. We're very familiar with the stock. So I'll tell you, I mean, this interests me a lot. There might be even too much volume on the book to cut through here. You have a major iceberg order at 375, 22,000 shares. So if that breaks, I would imagine this to only continue to drop off. But given where it is right now, I feel like this can only continue if that order does break. Look for a lot of selling at and under 375. But for right now, otherwise, even if it doesn't break below that order, I'd imagine this can make for a nice squeeze up. So VXRT here, I'll just kind of add on our list. FLDM, familiar name. Dropped off more in pre-market. Then after the open too, but it's squeezed up already. Co-Diagnostics, just familiar name. Just going to look at it. Overstock, albeit pretty expensive. Bitcoin ended up taking a big drop earlier this morning. Where's my phone? Take a look at my Bitcoin right now, actually. Why not? I mean, just the markets ended up making a nice jump up overnight. Bitcoin, not as much. It ended up making a small push to get towards the highs, but I think once we ended up seeing the market slip off a bit in pre-market, we ended up seeing Bitcoin make a sharper drop. Let's see, over the last few or so minutes, it's moved up with the market. It moved up recently to a peak of like 15,450, but it slipped back down over the last 10 or so minutes. What does that mean? Well, Overstock's a Bitcoin affiliated stock or blockchain technology affiliated. So, when you see Bitcoin make a stronger surge up or down, Overstock will move with it. So it looks like Overstock, at least for right now, it slipped off. A little expensive, but maybe to keep this in mind if you're more of like a level 2 or level 3 or 4 trader. Wayfair, I'm just not even going to look at it. A little expensive. Got AHT just ripping up right now. We'll jump back to that, like I'd said at the end. We got a bunch of other familiar names here, though. Home down, what is that, 16+%? I know a lot of online education or online, companies, that is, and education-based companies, Zoom and so forth, ended up taking a hit. Home, big drop today, right? APT, Alpha Pro Tech, not much going on there. TWOU down big, also shortable. This one looks pretty interesting. Now, I did jump over to this one pretty quickly just because, and for all of our students inside the Phase 2 class, you folks might know this because I showed it in the slides, but back in July or August of last year, we ended up seeing the stock drop like 66+%. It was just across the overnight session into the pre-market, just based off earnings. Just based off earnings alone, TWOU is down that much. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I might be here actually. TWOU, I'll have to check on the earnings. Okay, I thought that I had them on my earnings calendar, but nonetheless, earnings are not. Obviously, it's making a strong move on the way down heading into the afternoon. So put this on our list. All right, folks, let me know if there's anything else you would want me to look at. In the meantime, I don't really see as much else on the loser's end. TWOU earnings. Let's see, where were they? Oh, back from, okay, so it was a little over a week ago. October 27th, they were. So it's not earnings based, this move at least, but nonetheless, the lows right now. We'll see where support is on the bid here. AHT, 492. Wow, this ended up popping and dropping from 5. So on the first attempt, when this ended up breaking over 4, it did make the pop and drop, right? Well, now, obviously, I wasn't really expecting this big of a push afterwards, but it just goes to show on the first attempt of a stock testing a major resistance right now, I would expect a pop and drop, and then if it gives you another opportunity, which obviously this did, big pop after. We'll be talking about that a lot in class coming up, not this week, but next week and the week after. All right, let me know if there's anything else that you would want me to look at here in the chat board. David C saying Riot is moving up above the opening bell print. Very, very interesting observation there, David. Very good call. Now, with that in mind, though, you know my stance on Riot in the afternoon. So one day it will shut me up. I'll have egg on my face here as Riot will make an afternoon pop and rally, but I wouldn't expect that to be today. These stocks never make afternoon moves. Hopefully an overnight runner, though, at least, or some sort of gap up going into tomorrow morning with Bitcoin. Still in on my swing position here from 332. DGLY inching up from Debbie. Nah, it's just too slow. Jerry cleaning up on the AHT trade. He got in from 465 just now and picked up just about 50 cents on the trade. Excellent, Jerry. Very nice. Terrence asking about LI, saying LI, interesting. EV stock, right? Well, we'll check in with the EV stocks. We didn't really do that so far yet. It's not really doing a whole lot, though, Terrence. It's creeping up towards high of the day, so I appreciate that. Neo, obviously, from this morning, popped up to 45. Double top right off the 45 level just before. Just Again, I'm not really too keen to put this on our list right now. Oh, that's right. I know Workhorse ended up running up from earlier today. That too ended up making a big move from 17 up to 20, pulled back down quite a bit. And then with that, the FSR stock. You know, man, it would be very interesting if FSR out of these ends up making the big squeeze up higher. This one piques my interest the most, but I feel like it's traded so much volume still at this point in the day, it's probably just exhausted. MDRR from Pat. Yeah, that's looking pretty interesting. What do you know? It's a real estate stock. I believe it is. REIT, it says there, right? Take a quick look right now on Benzinga Pro. Yeah, not much out there as far as news. That's pretty much it. Metalist Diversified REIT. Yeah, it is a real estate stock. It acquires repossessions, renovates, lease, and manage income-producing properties. No, I didn't look at this one yet, Pat. So good call. I mean, it just obviously popped now. So it's not trading the 500K that we would look for at this time of the day, but I go over this in class. There are certain exceptions, right? And with this breaking out literally right now and all of the volume coming in here, obviously we're going to add this to our list. So looking pretty good. Great call. All right. I think that just about does it. Let me go to the pot stocks, like I'd said at the end. We'll take a look at MJ, the sector ETF. Looks like some buying perhaps coming in right off 1388 actually within the last like minute or two. Probably one of the bigger buy spikes across the whole day. So what does that mean? Well, let's take a look at ACB. Broke under 11 already. Might keep going, but at least for right now, should it break over 11, break back over 11, that could be an interesting setup. Tilray, it squeezed actually, broke below 10 really fast. So there was no under and over move on Tilray even there. I might slip ACB on at the end, just that alone, given the volatility, but I'm not expecting a whole lot on that pop. If we happen to see ACB break back through 11, it could probably gain us 20, 30 cents. So for what it's worth, I'll put that on at the end. SDC low of the day, last one here from Leda inside our chat board. We're going to finish up after this. Yeah, it's at the lows, little slow poke though for right now. You know, tradable stock, don't get me wrong. It's certainly tradable by all means, and big support at 10. You also have a 20,000 share order on the bid I see there at $10.12. And the last one from Tim, that's it though. Last one, that's it from Tim. Bank of America, so worthwhile call here. It's at the highs. It's up 15%. So Fausto was calling out the bank stocks from earlier today. Bank of America, obviously, that Tim had called out. Citigroup, or I mean, that a little more expensive too, right? So Bank of America, there we go. We'll put on our list here too. Don't get the stocks mixed up between BAC and ACB. My trader's dyslexia knowing will probably make me mix that up. All right, so all in all, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We got a big list here today, folks. We got 12 stocks, and then all of that, we have the cruise lines on top. NCLH, CCL, RCL, CUK, all of the cruise lines there. All right, folks, for all of us on social media, just follow the banner at this point. Join us live weekdays, Monday to Friday inside the Cyber Group Trading Room. Go to the link right there below to sign up for our trial. All right, aside from that, we'll look to post and tweet the picks, and I'll jump back on the mic for all of us inside the trading room pretty shortly. Take care.